Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Their Fight Story. I have an amazing guest, Alan Lau, who is a returning guest of ours. We will be talking about his new nonprofit that will benefit so many people. Alan, welcome. How are you doing today?
Good. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. When did you start Fortifying Survivor?
Oh, I gotta look it down. It's actually 2020 one that we started, but
Oh, wow.
it's now is 2025. But we officially have the nonprofit back in 2024, 2023, 2024. That's when we officially did it.
Oh, that's awesome. What is Fortifying Survivor?
So the Fortifying Survivor is to help domestic survivors to gain self-confidence again. And by doing so, we can provide different trainings, and we have different seminars and such at this point for survivors that who's like to participate.
When you say survivors, are you strictly saying domestic violence, sexual assault?
So we started with domestic survivor and then sexual assault, but then more research I did. Sexual assault is such a part of the domestic violence, one of their ways. So more like the big umbrella of the domestic survivors. If you look at our website, we actually did some research with the National Domestic Survivors
Hmm.
website and such, and really have different categories of domestic violence. It could be actually, like you said, sexual assault is one of them, but then you also have like monetary restrictions. You have verbal abuse. You have like physical abuse. You also have cut off your almost like a support system of the uh, of the victim or survivor rather. So you have a lot. So and more I look into this, more research I've done. So that's why instead of like a physical training and stuff, we also trying to. That's hence another reason we started this become a non-profit is because I want to able to get a resource and just not to do the physical stuff, but more like a mental stuff. So which is awesome. That's kind of where we are than what we are or who we are rather.
Hmm. Now, I mentioned like the separation of it only because there are instances where the person is not involved with a partner. It's more of like just a random act that's happened. Society is all over the place where people have malicious intent and they may have never met this person, which that's why
Oh
it's
yes, yes,
separately
yes,
categorized. I don't
yes,
want
yes,
people to
yes.
think that only if it was a partner of yours, or only if it was domestic. No, because it has so many different aspects of it.
Oh yes, yes. I mean yes. I mean like if you are a victim of sexual assault too, like it doesn't need to be your domestic partner. So like yes,
Mhm.
that. Thank you for clarifying this.
And like you said, under domestic violence, there is different types of abuse. There's
Correct.
financial
Yeah.
abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. There are so many different aspects to it. So it's important that we know the difference, but we also know where we can turn to and where we can get assistance.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we more of a almost like a middle person. So there's something that we cannot provide. Like we try to link you to different like providers who have the similar vision as we are to help the survivors.
Mhm.
So I actually able to reach out to a couple people. One of them is actually is my friend's wife organization, which she's a therapist herself, but she also have a nonprofit herself that help with people that needs therapy but
Mhm.
couldn't afford it. Like let's say they don't have insurance and stuff, and then through her nonprofit, she would if you would qualify and stuff, then she would like calm those like the services fee to be waived. And then actually through God, I would say that I met another person up in New Hampshire who
Mhm.
his son was tragically passed away a few years ago, but he has a something called the Austin 17 House, and that is really Mark is the owner of it. and he's been graciously offered, say, hey, if any survivor would like a place of retreat and stuff like that, they would host for us, stuff like that. So more people that I have talked to, and more people actually supporting, the ideas of it. So which is great. Everything helps, and really no shame of it too. It happens. We are older now, like we all live for, living life a little bit. So things does happen. It is what it is, and the best thing to do is try to learn to move forward.
It's important to move forward. It's also important to know where you can turn to. And like you said, Fortifying Survivor is a resource center that advocates for survivors as well as family members that have lost somebody due to something tragic like that, because many people forget that our extended family are also affected.
Yeah, just because something happened to one person, it's like, almost like a 6 degree of separation. It's like, everybody just have a little piece of it. So never think you are alone, because you're never alone.
Mhm.
Like, doesn't matter what situation you are in, like you're never alone. Always, reach out and really looking for things that can help you.
I know we haven't said this, but one thing that for people who are listening, this is not just for women, this is for men as well. So
Yes.
many people think and automatically assume that services like this, resources like this, is just strictly for women only because it's stereotypical of that. But in reality, it's for everybody, whether it's a man or a woman.
Correct. Actually, is I do more, research into this after I found, the nonprofit is, I believe is one other 3 women is being sexual assault, but the man is like 1 every 4. So, and
Mhm,
now when you give the standard society of like, men being tough, men don't share their feelings, emotions. So, you will see more like, mental things with men, right? You will see a lot of times they, what I call, first of all, I'm not a certified, healthcare provider, but like you will see a lot more of the men, they go to certain kind of addiction. Either it could be a porno addiction, could be a alcohol and drugs addiction, gambling addictions. A lot of times, those addiction is caused by some kind of trauma in their lives.
mhm,
Um, so I'm not saying this because of my own experience. It's based on the research I've seen. Obviously, if you have more information, you can correct me or whatnot. But I'm just saying. So a lot of times too, like you said, the men are often overlooked. But now, when you see what happened in our society in the past, let's say 30 years, and as more stuff, coming out, and like man is just as much of a victim as a female,
mhm,
especially a lot of times in our society, like yeah, like how the man physically or emotionally abused, like a man, right? A lot of times, and you'll see a lot of that, more than do it to the women, and then like when you see like like a divorcees, like how the man would be abused versus different, the women being abused, like just because he's a man, and doesn't mean they're not being abused by their
mhm,
ex-wife or stuff like that. So it's very common too in those cases, because a lot of times, because of the laws here, in the United States in general, like if you are married with a kid, majority of the time, like the women would automatically get custody, right? So that's kind of, and then when that happens, it's like a lot of times the women would use that to abuse the man, right?
mhm,
And then vice versa. It could be, sometimes, when the man can abuse the women, also fear the money, right?
mhm,
Depends, but or even physical. But men also get physical too, but they just don't get reported as often because of the stigma of the society.
mhm,
So this is kind of like what I try to bring up is abuse doesn't care who you are and what you are.
mhm,
You could be man, you're female, women. You could be transgender. It could be homosexual. It doesn't matter like what your sexual orientation or nothing. Like abuse is abuse. We try to provide the help or the resources as much as we can. And if we can't do anything, then try to forward the survivor into different places.
And like you said, abuse, trauma does not discriminate against anybody. It's it's out there. We just need to know who we can turn to, who we can get help from, and if we don't know, we can ask. It's not
Correct. Yeah.
we don't have to be ashamed. It is part of the feeling that we get from it. Trust one person to talk to. What are some of the things that your nonprofit can provide?
We do. So we have reached out to a few like martial artists. So one of the professional MMA fighters have done a self-defense seminar for us for fundraise.
Mhm,
Fernanda, who did for us, and I also partner with another company called Delta Panda Project that they provide firearms training or the firearms you know, uh, application process for state of Massachusetts, because in Massachusetts you need to, as with the recent law changes, but you still need to have like certain prerequisite in order to apply for your license to carry in the state of Massachusetts. So Delta Pena Project would they volunteered to provide a service for the survivors for free. So because that usually could be a cost prohibited things for survivors, because it costs at the current rate is like between 150 to $200. So now with the new law comes in, that could be 250 $300, because with the newer requirements that the state has put on for the LTC. So cost could be substantial, including the application fee. So we are trying to cover that cost for the survivors, to do that. So that's one thing. But then, like I said, we try to expand into things that more than just physical. So
mhm,
it could be some more mental, right? So that's why that retreat thing that with Austin 17 House may be a worthy thing to do if we have enough survivor who's interested in doing it. It's more like just
mhm,
a get together, just to hang out. They have like space. Actually, the Austin 17 House, they actually have a similar like a stop the bully thing too with the
mhm,
with the kids, with the youth. So it's kind of like not the same mission, but a similar like path, like recovery or for like
mhm,
sharing their feelings and stuff. So that's so we're trying to do more like mental things too.
mhm,
Like I try to reach out to different mental like mental health care providers who can help us to
mhm,
contribute to the cost, but everything, like everything else, takes times and resources, and this hence we
mhm,
have like fundraisers and stuff that we try to do. So sometimes people can volunteer their time, but sometimes can't. And
mhm,
now sometimes when people volunteers, the quality of service may not be as good, right? So it's like a balancing act that we're trying to do.
mhm. And we all work together for that change to make it better, to allow people to find a way to be able to get out of the stigma, get out of the stereotype that we can't do better, that we don't have people, because this is our support system. We all
Yeah,
work together to make a change. It's about providing the services that the survivors need to avoid the potential of being victimized once again.
like last year we have our first fundraiser at the Drop Some Brewery in Winthrop, and like I was able to meet one of the survivors at the event, and it just kind of random. She saw the flyers, and then a young lady, she pulled me aside, talked to me for a little bit, and then
Mhm,
like it's just that one person that you meet, that how they know this have like able to like help them, like that
mhm,
really the big reward that that you get from doing what we're doing, so it's good. So we're trying to plan another fundraiser probably in May timeframe again, but I need
mhm.
to start looking at venues and such.
Alan, before we conclude, is there anything you would like to share as far as maybe how people can connect with you to find information?
Yeah, so go to fortifyingsurvivor.org, and we have all the information there, and then email, follow us on social media and stuff like that. So, and hopefully we try to do another fundraiser too. We can contribute, you can donate, stuff, or and I was lucky that I have a lot of people that able to like donate, services and such for the fundraiser, which was fantastic. And but we didn't really raise a lot of money the first time because that was all about getting our names out there. So
Hmm.
hopefully we can raise a little bit more this time, so we can actually put more things in place as we know everything's going up. So it's just harder to do what we want to do without the proper resources.
Yes. Thank you so much, Alan, and I look forward to working with you soon.
Thank you, Eki, for providing a platform for us to reach greater audience as well.
Thank you.